All right, this is question 4, I believe, on the practice test. And from what it looks like, it's testing your knowledge on static. I guess like the keyword static in general. I was gonna say static methods, but we don't really have any static methods besides, say, public static void. But you're always gonna have that if you want your program to run. That is. So the other like I guess like location that we see static is down here in class test, right? So what that allows you to do, like what a static variable allows you to do is it allows every single instance of class test. So like any object that you can say is a test object will share the exact same data. Like they'll every object of type test will point to the same, I guess like data value, right, in memory. So what do I mean by that? Like let's say that test data is equal to 5 somehow, right? And let's say I have this object, it's a type test. Its name is T1, right? And over here I have T2. It's a test object. And it's like if I ever wonder what is T1's value for data, all I have to do is go look at the variable for all test objects, like the static variable, it's test data, right? So because I know that test data is equal to 5, I already know that both T1 and T2 hold those values of 5, right? Somewhere within the object, right? Realistically, like what it's doing is, both of these guys point to 5. So say that you wanted to change it, like say that somehow you change the data to 7, right? Now both of these guys point to 7, like their data points to 7. It's never going to be the case where this static variable um, has like 8 in T1 and then like 6 in T2. No, they have to be the same for every object of type test, right? And another thing it allows you to do, it's sort of niche, but maybe kind of cool. It allows you to use the class name. So in this case, the class is named test, right? So you can do just like straight up the class name test dot data, assuming this is public, is equal to whatever you want, right? What I'm saying is that you can access this variable without even having an object, right? So this line is legal even if these guys don't even exist. So right now, currently, I have no test objects, and I can still set the data of the class test equal to whatever I want, some number, right? And this is totally legal, right? Had this not been static, this is now an illegal line. Like I would need a test object first before I can do something along these lines, right? So, if we had T1 back, we'd have to do T1 dot data is equal to like say 6, right? And then like if this data, I guess, variable is not static, then T2 might not have data that's equal to 6. So like maybe T2's data is equal to 2, right? Now they can be different. Now the data is not static, right? They're not all universal. But in our case, right, in our question, that variable is in fact static, right? So now that we know what that means, we have to run through the code and see, well, one, if there's any errors, and two, if there's no errors, what does it print out? Right, so starting at our typical starting point, right, public static void main, we look at the first line, right? So we have an object named test. It's a type test, and it's receiving a new memory location. I guess like a memory is being allocated for this new object, right? So right now, I got an object named test. It's a type test. So like this is the name. This is the object that it is, or I guess like the sort of object type, right? And now let's see if we have a constructor, right, for test that takes in no parameters. And it looks like we do, right? It's this method right here. This is a constructor, right? So now when I'm making the object, I have to follow the constructor's instructions, so to speak, right? So now data is equal to 0. Remember, it's a static variable. So instead of drawing data in here, I think what would be nicer is if I just drew data out here, because maybe I'll need another object. In this code, obviously, I'm not making any new objects, but just like in general, it might be nice to do this for static variables, right? So data is equal to what? Data is apparently equal to 0, right? So that's what we'll do. And then maybe you can kind of like point this to the data, right? So now test's data is equal to 0, this object's data is equal to 0, everybody's data right now is equal to 0, right? So now what am I going to do? I'm doing test.data is equal to 2. So we'll literally just do that, right? Change this to 2. It's a totally legal line because this is public. So I can access it from anywhere, right? So data is equal to 2 for every test object, which just happens to be this guy, but that's all right. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to do test.data and the class name test.data, right? So I'm gonna do exactly that, right? So if I'm accessing data from the object, what am I going to do? I'm going to look at the object and where is data? Data is pointed to, and its value is equal to 2, right? And remember how I was talking about earlier, how you can use the class name to access this variable directly, right? So instead of taking this arrow here, we can just kind of look at data by itself, like cut out the middleman, so to speak, right? So if data was equal to 2 for this test object, it has to be equal to 2 for every test, right? So we can just put a 2 down here, right? By just by going directly to here, you don't have to use this object middleman, right? So just add them together, of course you get 4, right? And that leaves us with this option here. The code didn't crash, it gave us 4. And we can go ahead and verify that. And the answer is indeed 4. I'll see you in the next one.